Okay, I am live. I had two false starts this morning, and the dogs seem to be going bananas upstairs. Um, okay, so I uh, I wanted to revisit. I didn't want to do a part four, but I'm doing a part four of the um, axis locks. So let me move this over. Sorry. Okay. And let me go to screen right, me lower left. So here are all of the files that we've been making, all the version numbers, and we're up to version 7. I'm gonna double click on that because there were some things that I overlooked and that I kind of goofed up on, that I made right, in which I made mistakes. So I need to point out some things. So we've got the lens here. And this is fixed unknown. I should have changed that to to known before I did the head tracking. So I'm going to kind of undo or like erase a bunch of the work that I've done. To do that, I want to get rid of I'm going to keep the trackers. I'm just going to delete the solve. That's the first thing we're going to do. And to do that in the solver, we can see that the camera is disabled and the object is set to refine. So I'm actually going to set the object, I'm going to leave that at refine. I'm just going to hit this master solution reset and you're going to get an error. Oh, there we go. Refine mode are not objects in refine mode are not reset. You must restore the main mode and reset again. So let's just set this to automatic. So now our object head is set to auto. Oh, doggies. Poor dogs. I'm gonna do that, and now our object has been reset, but we still see it moving. So why is that? Well, there are a bunch of keyframes on it, and so it's oftentimes easier to just have our object selected. We'll do reset all channel zooms, and we're looking at the solved path for the object. But let's also look at the seed path. So we don't want any of these seed value settings. So let's get rid of those. Oh, yeah, that's right. I keep wanting to be able to hit like Command A or Control A and like select all of the. So this is why I said there should be what is it called? It's got a name. Like in Unix, if your mouse is over a window, it gives focus. That's the word I'm looking for. So, I just want like determine the focus of what I'm looking at. So let's delete all these because we're not going to need those anymore because we're going to do some changes to some things. And you'll see that path now no longer has keyframes on those axes. So let's select all of everything and reset all channel zooms just to make sure. Yeah, that's good. Also, everything on the seed path needs to be on. See, I didn't quite do that correctly. I keep selecting all these keyframes, but not the first frame. So now our object should not be moving. It's not. It's just sitting there. And that's because of our seed path. Okay. Great. We're going to resolve the camera. So let's set the object to disabled. I really wish I could just right-click or click on this and right-click and then set it gives me feedback. But anywhere it gives me feedback, I have this inclination to want to be able to also edit. So I wish I could just change it there, but I can't. All right, enough of that. So we're going to leave the object headed disabled, and we're going to go back to camera 1, and we're going to reset that to auto. And because the reason why is because when I kept resolving the head earlier, and I didn't have the lens set to known, now all of our, you see all of our points don't really line up to the 2D trackers anymore. So that's a problem. So let's resolve that and do this correctly. So I'm gonna hit auto, automatic, yeah, and then go. Cross your fingers. This, by the way, is like why I don't like taking over other people's shots, because I don't really know what they did before. And because I don't know, I'm like, you know, now I've got to like tear things apart and rebuild them and just kind of figure things out. That is all wrong. Cancel that. Constrain. Let's turn that off. Let's shrink this down. So this is set to disabled. Camera 1 is, they're just fine. Let's go back to the lens. Oh, yeah, this is right. That's correct. That should be right. I've turned off constrain. So hopefully, yeah, that's better. Now we're getting much lower HPIX values. So that's great. And one of the things I did was I put that tracker, I put a constraint on the garbage bin just to kind of rotate it back into place. So that might be causing some issues, and I might have to undo that and then redo it. So this is an important lesson. Ordinarily, so I have a bunch of scripts that kind of finalize shots for tracking. And one of the things that these scripts do is they go in and they set the cameras to not solve, and they make them disabled, and they lock things down. If I were to do a lot of this kind of work, I'd probably add a script that said, you know, that you would run after you got done doing the camera track. Yeah, I'm not, yeah, that's terrible. Look at that, 36. Our HPIX is 36. Yeah, so our camera is totally disoriented and it's kind of bad. So something is causing problems. I'm gonna also hide our witness camera. Great. So let's see what we've got here. Solver. So when I turn constraint on, it really caused problems. Let's bring up the floating constrained points view. And I think that this last tracker, was that the one that I put on the recycle bin or trash bin, whatever that was? Let's go into the trackers room. Let's move this over. See if I still have, yeah, there it is. 5 key to not center. So I think that tracker might be causing issues. And for that, you know, the tracker's fine. So, but I'm going to turn off seed and I'm going to unconstrain, and then you'll see that update in the constrained points view. So I think that because the garbage bin got moved, that's going to cause a problem. So let's go back here and try and resolve this. Make sure that, and we can get rid of pinning. We don't need that right now. Let's zoom out a bit. Shift G. Optimizing. So we were doing well before, like, you know, 2 pixels, 1.97 pixels, 1.54 pixels. But now, right here, suddenly it jumps up to like 36. And now it's dropping again. But something's wrong. So these are often hard to take shots that are in progress and then try and fix them. And this is even a shot that I did. So that's a little concerning. But we have to fix this first. Because if I turned this over to somebody, they'd be like, what? This is all wrong. Ordinarily, I do these. I'm gonna bring my water over here. I'm always careful about putting my water on my desk because it's so easy to knock over. I really don't like that. I don't like putting my water on my desk. Synthesizer is having a real problem with this shot. So this will become a tutorial about how to debug shots that are messed up. Yeah, that's completely wrong, obviously. So let's hit OK and just see what happened. So the camera is now like way, yeah. Okay, so let's review our constraints. Window, floating constraint points. It's the first thing we're going to look at. I'm going to hit the 5 key again to center our trackers. Make sure that they are doing the right things. Let's zoom out here. That looks good. That looks okay. Let's look at the next constraint. That's up there. Okay, we'll be doing this in the trackers view, but with camera quad. Let's just do quad. Now we can see both. That looks good. How about that? That's that little post there. I'm just looking for if they seem to be in the right locations. If I saw that there was a tracker that was like really way off in some strange area, I would be concerned. All right, and this is tracker 1, so those all look okay. So something we have to understand about the constrain button. So the balloon help says apply coordinate system as constraints, otherwise as alignments. You could think about that as like, think of it as a hard lock or as a suggestion. So I don't have a constrain, and therefore it is just a suggestion. I'm going to turn on constrain, and I'm going to hit go again. This solve should not take this long. So I am somewhat concerned. Oh. Wait, cancel this. Let's make sure our lens is set to fixed unknown. Okay, that's good. Let me go back to the calculate distortion. We were only calculating the distortion for these 2 channels. And then the other thing I can do in the solver is not have it be automatic. I can set that to refine. And that's probably, there we go. That's better. So by setting it to refine, I'm saying take all these solutions that you've already calculated and use those as the starting point. And then you see these high error trackers get selected automatically at the end of the solve. And you see that one tracker has an HPix error of 5.2 pixels. But if I click, the root mean square error is 0.744. So now our track is good, finally. So let's go back to lens. Keep in mind, I'm talking again, so that takes more time. If I were doing this just, working, it would take a couple minutes to figure out all those things. All right, so we're no longer going to be calculating distortion. That's the first thing. And at least I did set that to, I set these to manual. The next thing I'm going to do is say known, and then it's going to ask me, copy the solved field of view history to be the known seed field of view. Yes. I feel like that could be written a little more clearly. All right. So that's a UI thing. It's just like UI design. You really want, if you're going to write a piece of software, I think you should have UI designers to kind of run things by and make sure that that they're good. My friend Ben Sandowski, he made the Kino app for the iPhone, which is great. I highly recommend it. But he does all the tech stuff, all the programming tech stuff, and then he also has his business partner also does the design of the UI, so just to make things more. And that app won Apple's App of the Year last year, as you know. And then there's also Halide, or what I call Halide. But that other app he did, and that's the iPhone camera app. Also highly recommend that. But having a designer to catch things like unclear messages in the UI, that's probably a good idea. Okay, so good. Now our track is good, and it is set to refine still, so we're going to have to say solver disabled. And this would be the script that I would write. I'd be like, okay, are you done? Like now you want to do your object track? So you could write a script that said, make the camera disabled, turn off all the lens distortion, make the field of view known, and copy the current field of view values to the known field of view. And just, or rather leave them the way they are. That would be good. Okay, there. So now when I turn off the mesh, it's like a perfect match. Almost. I still have that problem with over on screen right where it's a little down. Do you want to fix that? I kind of want to fix that. I kind of feel like I want to fix that. And I thought I would fix it by using that constraint on that trash bin, but that didn't work. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you a little trick, which I hate calling these things tricks because it's not a trick. It's a skill. It's a technique. So I'm going to show you a methodology for bringing that side up a little bit. And we're going to do it with the place tool again. So for that, now I have to set my camera back to refine, and we could probably leave the distortion and everything alone. We can not even calculate the lens. I just want to bring the thing over. I'm thinking right now. I'm contemplating. Yeah, this is kind of one of those, you may want to, you may not want to. I'm going to say fixed unknown. And here's why. I'm also going to do the same thing with the lens distortion. I'm going to set these back to calculate. The reason why is by allowing SynthEyes to just tweak things a bit, you can get your HPICs down and you can actually make your solve better. This probably will improve the solve a little bit, or at least make it accommodate the changes or the axis locks that I'm going to make. But you have to be very certain that your axis locks that you're putting in are good. They're like, you really have to be sure about it. Okay. So let's go back into the, I guess, trackers room. And I've got this set to quad. Let's do quad perspective, I guess. Sure. Nah, let's just leave it at quad. And I'm going to bring up a floating perspective window. The thing about this floating perspective window is, again, I have my laptop monitor. I've got my iPad being used as a monitor. I've got this big 4K monitor. I've got that 4K monitor. So I've got 4 monitors. So if I were working by myself, I'd probably put this on another monitor, not leave it right in the middle of the display like this. All right. So let's see what we've got here. Right now, using the middle mouse wheel, I am actually moving the cursor. So I'm moving the playhead. But now, so remember what I said earlier about which window has focus? Now that I've clicked in this window with the left mouse button, now my middle mouse wheel is dollying in and out. Or what was it doing there? Yeah, it was dollying, but it wasn't dollying around the straightforward. What am I saying? Yeah, dollying. That's right. Okay. So let's find a tracker over here. Something like, I'm just looking on, okay, I don't seem to have any of the tops of these even scanned. They don't actually get scanned until much farther down the line. And I don't really see anything in here that is, I don't really see anything in here that's particularly identifiable. Oh, I see what happened. Remember when I said I was dollying and I didn't realize what I was doing? So all of that nonsense. This perspective view is the witness camera. So I can right click there and say, I don't want this to be the witness camera. How do I turn that off? How do I make it be like just a generic perspective view that is not associated with anything, so it's just its own perspective? I don't know how to do that. I really don't know. This is the camera. If I orbit now, yeah, that breaks it. So now it's just the perspective view. So it's not associated with anything. It says camera, but because I've orbited, it broke the link. So that's how you do that. I knew you could. All right, but that's really what I wanted to do. Let's move that over a bit. I don't think, here, hold on a second. Synthesize, settings, Maya, search, enable Maya style navigation and perspective, alt left, alt middle, and alt right. Good. So alt middle, alt left, and alt right. Good. All right, so let's try to stay focused here. Senior Merkovich. What I can do is select a tracker like this. And we see where it's solved over here. And I can drop that onto mesh. So track, drop onto mesh. And now that tracker has the little blue like intersected plus signs, perpendicular plus signs. I don't know what you call that little gizmo, but I've done that. Let's hit the 5 key here and orbit around. I don't see the, it's very strange. But we know generally where that is. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the place button and see about placing it on the mesh. And when I do that, and then solve and then resolve, what should happen is our whole solve will try and like take into consideration that new constraint. So let's go back into the solver view. I'm going to move this over here. Oh, that's right. I was going to turn these on, wasn't I? I thought I was. I'm going to do it. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. Go. There we go. So let's undo that, cancel. And now I'm going to hit go again. And it just pulled our mesh over on screen left up a bit. Let's make sure the whole thing looks okay. 5 key, right click on Pan 2D, and then now I'm going to turn off and turn on the mesh. And yeah, that looks like it's oriented better and it's aligned better. So that's a little cheat you can do. You can basically override the not override, you're just pulling that side up by placing a tracker, not even on a feature. So, okay. So just keep that in mind. All right, now let's go back. This would be where that script would be great. I'm gonna right click that, I'm gonna right click that, set those back to manual. So we're not doing any more lens distortion calculations. I'm going to go back into my lens. I'm going to say known. Yes, copy the FOV to, the solved FOV to the, anyway, you get it. That's done. What else don't we want to do anymore? We don't want to solve the camera anymore. And this is why making a script to do this, it prevents you, like, if it's a task you have to repeat over and over, it just removes some human error. So let's set that to disabled. And if I hit go, nothing is solving. I just wanted to make sure and to illustrate the point. So now our track looks good. Now our head, now we're going to resolve the head. And we're going to deal with all of that high frequency noise, but we're going to do it in a different way. Nobody has tuned in because I'm doing this so early. I'm doing this much earlier than usual. I have physical therapy this afternoon for other injuries and medical problems. So that's why I'm doing it now. All right, let's see. Where's the hierarchy view? Object head. We're going to get rid of all of our axis locks. So let's click on that. So when you are in the 2D tracker and you can shift right click to blow away the tracking history going forward, you can do that kind of for pretty much anything. So if I hold down shift and I right click on the position here, that's going to blow away all of that. If I shift right click on this, it's going to blow away all these seed values. I can do the same thing on the rotation. I can do the same thing for this. And I can do it for the entire axis lock. So if I do that, shift right clicking, if I move forward, you'll see there are no more axis locks. It's all taken care of. And my head is now intersecting the pavement, or it's not really pavement. It's like and it's not really quite a dirt road. I don't know what that's called. It's like you put aggregate in there and some kind of filler material. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to take a drink. I'm drinking water. More water. Okay, so that's good. Now what we are going to do is on the object head, I'm going to say automatic. It's set to constrain already because it was set to constrain before. Our camera is disabled. I'm double checking. Our lens distortion is fixed. So it's not animated lens distortion, which you can calculate. Because like I said, lens distortion changes. So sometimes we'll calculate that. And then you'll get, an animated lens grid. Okay, anyway. I digress. Don't forget my texture control panel is still on the other page so that I can have hide mesh selection be, be checked. All right. So that's all off. The lens is known. I'm going to close this floating perspective view. Let's go to the solver, and I'm just going to hit go and cross my fingers because there we go. And because anytime I do this kind of thing, it can be like, what broke? But it didn't. And it did exactly what it did before. So we have all this high frequency noise on the Z-axis, and you can see the head just kind of vibrating back and forth. But you'll notice from this view, you don't even see it. You don't see that vibration at all. So this can be like, oh yeah, the track's done. No. Especially if you're like doing, particle sims or some kind of, like you wanted to have like flames coming off my head, like Ghost Rider. Well, your particle system's going to go bananas because of all this high frequency Z-axis noise. So that's why you have to fix this stuff. It might look fine in camera, but it does not look fine from here. So we're going to fix it, but we're going to fix it in a different way this time. A similar way. And we're still using axis locks, not the filtering control. We're going to go back to axis locks. Let's get rid of that. Now I'm doing a little bit of experimentation at this point, so bear with me. I can't guarantee that what I'm going to do here is going to work, but I thought, a better way to do this might be I said never use the filtering control. Why did I click the filtering control button? Because it's right next to the more button. Okay. All right, so we are going to start grabbing frames for seed path values. And in here, let's turn off the solved path. And let's grab the seed path value. Like, let's start it here. We're going to do the same thing we did last time. I'm going to get one frame. And actually, I'm not going to get one frame there. I'm going to get one frame on the distance. So we're going to ignore this for the time being. I'm going to get one frame on the distance. And then I'm going to take the distance. Let's get rid of everything in the seed path and only look at the distance. Let's delete the first frame and let's just move that frame we just grabbed over a bit. And let's use that tool to do it. So we're going to move this to that first frame. Okay. And now let's you know what I'm going to do instead? I changed my mind. I'm going to get the playback portion, get PB. And the playback portion is the whole shot. So I'm just going to say get PB. Get solve distance and save as constraint. Yeah. So this is now our distance. And the distance you can see is also has that high frequency noise in it. So what I'm going to do is take this and switch modes so that I am now able to move them up and down. I'm going to select all of these and I'm going to delete, and I'm going to select all of these. By the way, if you ever have a hard time seeing this, like, oh, the background's green, my graph is green, just turn off the colors of the graph. So that's one way to handle that. You know what, here, there we go, here, wait. No, stop, will you stop? Let's do that. And we're gonna do this. And then when we get to about here, I think this is probably a good place to stop. Like when I get into this region, when the head is actually, probably I should have like not even done that from there. So let's zoom out a bit. So this distance right here, let's actually go back a little bit more in time. How come I can't drag this? Is this a modal window? What's going on here? I can't click on anything. Sometimes this happens with Mac OS. I love it. So when that happens, I have to click out of the application into some other window, and then I can click again, and then I regain control. Nonsense. So goofy. Yeah, look at that. I completely can't... I can't close this window. Why? Why can't I close that window? You know, let's click on OBS and see there. Yep, I have lost control completely. I can drag the windows around, but show? No, I can't click any button, or I can only drag windows around. Until here, let's go to Finder. Let's go to Finder window and then click on that and then come back here. Now I can't even see my mouse. There we go. Let's close that window. Ah! This is really frustrating. This is definitely not SynthEyes. Not SynthEyes. This is not a SynthEyes problem. For this, I may have to crash out of SynthEyes and restart it. Here, I'm just curious if it says that, because it won't say that it's not responding. Okay, force quit. Yes, please, force quit. Let's bring that back. Let's see how much work we lost. SynthEyes is good about saving. You can set it to save every so often, so that's nice. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, we're kind of back to at least the saving is done. Let's turn off our seed path. So we have to kind of blow away all the seed path and all that stuff again. Let me just quickly do that. Axis locks. This is also all blown away. So that's good. So our axis locks are blown away. self path we don't need to see. And we've deleted everything in our seed path. So I'm going to say get the playback range again, only for the distance. And let's see if we can do this correctly again. Zoom in here. I normally do these with floating windows all the time. I don't typically leave so much clutter on one screen. But let's grab that keyframe. Come on, baby. And let's use this to get, I just kind of want to generally create a trajectory that looks like the distance is gradually increasing on a somewhat linear basis. Let's get rid of those. Let's get rid of this. In fact, let's get rid of all of those. And then for these in here, probably between there and there, I'm going to say approximate keys. And maximum frames, turn that down to about there. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. Okay, and then I have to do a little bit of manual adjustment to this and get rid of that one. That one guy. Oh, come on now. Don't be like that. Delete that. There we go. And so now I'm going to take, I'm not so sure about this little bump in there. I think we'd probably clean that up a bit. I think we could actually clean this up to about here. So let's do that. Approximate keys. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Do a couple more manual adjustments. Even get rid of that one there. All right, so I'm going to take all of these keyframes and I'm going to right click and say set to smooth key. And that's going to cause some problems because you see like the interpolation. We really want this to be kind of a smooth line. It can have some variation, but Kaltner splines, baby. Love it. And then that's going to be a problem. So let's get rid of that. All right. So when we do this, that's now the seed path. And we're going to go back into our axis locks. You know what? You don't really need to see me in the lower left. I probably covered up a bunch of critical things in the UI while I've been doing this. But so when you do this axis lock thing, you're basically saying take all that high frequency noise in that channel, and we're going to transpose it into this other channel. So it's going to be compensated for by the rotation. It's going to be compensated for by the X and Y axis and Z axis, but it's going to lock. We're going to lock the distance constraint, and we're going to do it the same way we did it before. So let's bring that back up. And we're going to say, we're going to lock the distance. And we're going to leave it locked until we get to about this frame here. one more frame forward. And I'm going to turn it off because at that point, our noise generally, I believe, goes away. Yeah, we get no more real high frequency noise after that point. And just to be safe, I'm going to undo that. I'm going to leave it locked until we get to here. Then I'm going to turn off the distance constraint. So now, you know, all through here, that distance constraint is going to be in effect. It's not really a constraint. It's a lock. It's the axis lock. So that lock will be in effect. But the lock has a weight of 60. And remember, this goes from 1 to 120. 60 is 50%. Please just make these percentages. Please just make it a percentage. It's the simplest arithmetic. Anyway, internally, keep it at, you know, whatever you want, and just, you know, show the user a percentage. All right, let's hit go, and I'm just double checking my hierarchy view. Everything's set to disabled except for the object head, which is set to constrain. All right, cross your fingers, because like I said, we are now in the realm of experimentation. I'm going to look at my graph here. All right, go. Okay. Hey, look, this is all nice and smoothed out. It doesn't have any more z-axis noise. And then if we look here at this, that is smooth as silk. But let's look at it in you know, playing. Yeah, that's great. So all that work we did yesterday with setting the position and locking the left, right, up, down, front, back, all that stuff, this was so much easier to do by just transferring all of the error into the, you know, basically letting the distance constraint or distance axis lock do all the heavy lifting. So that was really the moral of this whole story. But I covered a lot of other stuff that's useful. So I hope that this was useful. Nobody tuned in for this. Hey, 11 views. It looks like some people like may have joined and then left and said, this is dumb. Who knows? Okay, and the average view duration was 3 minutes and 58 seconds. There you have it. So that distance lock is super useful. I've used it many times in the past. I use it. I don't know why I didn't think to use it this time. But I'm glad I showed you it the other way. And those other axis locks are very useful. So there you go. That's that. Let's stop this playing. Stop playing, please. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. Or thanks for you didn't tune in. Only a couple people tuned in and then they left. But thank you for watching this. I had an idea about these this morning, which may result in something good and cool. But I'll get back to you on that. Stick around. There will be more cool stuff. Hey, this is my cult t-shirt. I love that band. I've seen them in concert. Unfortunately, when I saw them, the lead singer, Ian, was really, really drunk. Was forgetting lyrics to songs. It was like really a mess. But, or maybe he wasn't drunk. Maybe he was having an episode of some kind. Anyway, I'll see you soon. And I guess like and subscribe.